So, between all the teams that you've played for,
Hmm.
which gave you the best experience? And well, yeah, just experience. What team gave you the best experience
Like you talking about experience as a player, like
as a
to get
play?
better as a player.
So, as a player, like your lifestyle, like that made you realize that hold on, I need to change certain things to get to be able to do a lot better, or like just in general experience, knowledge.
I think a lot of the time when I was at Hearts, Hurricanes, I was still on autopilot, so I can't really put them in the same category as the last three.
Okay.
I still was pretty much just going through the motions. Just understand we still use risk coaches, so we used to have everything in front of us. It wasn't particularly a difficult system, so it just focused on you being an athlete and going and making a play. Yes, statistically, that might be one of the best years I played a football. But at the same time, was I playing intelligently? No, I was just hitting the gap and doing what I was supposed to.
Mm.
And if a play wasn't happening, I would run down and make a play, but I wasn't surveying the field in a certain way. I think my time at Cheetahs definitely helped me technically as a defensive lineman. And obviously, the volume of playing time allows you to mature and become a more experienced player because you can practice what you want. But if you can't perform that under pressure and you can't adjust under pressure, then you're useless.
Yeah.
I'd say it's close between Surge and Blitz. I'd
Okay.
say the Surge and Blitz because there's different aspects of it that forced me to improve. Like it forced me. It's like that Zenkai boost that you get. You know what I mean, fam? You call Zenkai boost. So it's like going there, as I said, going to the finals and seeing that. Then in my first year at Blitz, obviously told me, all right, it's time to level up. And then obviously going to the Surge and playing out there, seeing the next level, and honestly, being cut was obviously something that said it's a turning point. As they say all the time on the new show, that's my point where I needed to pivot.
Yes.
So that was where I could either pivot and go into a completely different realm, or I could keep going and just find ways to improve so that doesn't happen again. So yeah, I'd say it's between those two. I can't actually decide the two.
Okay.
But obviously returning back to Blitz, it's nice to be around obviously the guys again, build back into that culture, and also I feel like I am improving like week by week as well. So the Blitz might overtake them depending on how long I'm with them this season. The Blitz might manage to overtake the Surge.
Okay. Fair enough. That I can understand. So, since you started playing the sport,
Mm-hmm.
since you started playing the sport, yeah, how how has it changed your life?
Changed my life in many avenues and ways. Um, I've learned, especially over the last 2, 3 years, I'd say, I've learned to become more disciplined in my life because I realized one, I never used to be disciplined. I used to kind of just go on whims. If someone says, "Yeah, let's go out," I just go out. If someone says, like even like the foods I used to eat, and I was never someone that would put on weight or something like that. So it's never been a problem like that. But you can feel healthier. Like you feel the health. I just feel much more like within myself, knowing that I'm taking care of my body
Yeah.
and doing the right things to take care of my body. So you can look at it from the health benefits, but also the mental benefits. Obviously, this is a hard game to play. This is not by no means easy. And obviously, having to do all that prep work, having to do all the things, and sometimes going on game day, as I said, maybe not getting enough reps, not getting many reps, or you go on game day and you come back with a loss. Being mentally learning how to take yourself up from that and actually go back and be like, all right, cool, we're gonna hit the drawing board and try again. That's something I've carried with me going forward, and it's made me much more resilient in my own private life. Last year I learned how to become a teacher, so I was doing the degree to learn how to become a teacher, and there's times where you want to quit, but I think that experience and exposing myself to the experience of American football definitely helped allow me to transfer those skills over. Now, if you're talking about like even job opportunities, I've had about 3 job opportunities just from people I've known through American football.
Wow.
My the first when I joined Nike back in the day, that was through Keith. I wouldn't have had the opportunity if I didn't go and play football.
Wow.
I got my first corporate job in central London because I'd actually applied for the job, and it turned out that my one of my coaches at Cheetahs is his cousin that would have been my manager. So it's a little bit of an under the table thing, but it was good to have that sort of
Relationship.
connection between people and that relationship between people. So there's great opportunities that have come from it, and like even just being able to speak to different people, reach out, the ability to travel, see the new city. I lived in a new city for 3 months.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's something that I would never be able to do. And even if God forbid that my journey doesn't go anywhere fruitful. When I say fruitful, where we start getting big bucks,
Yeah.
I can still use my experience, my know-how, and my ability to play the sport to travel around the world. Could decide that one season I want to go and play in Australia, I just go.
Yeah.
There's leagues everywhere, so there's always chances for you to use this in different ways. So I feel like my life would be completely different without it. And I alluded to that in the last time we did a video back in when you did the questions.
Yeah.
I might have some kids around me, but obviously dedication. Something has to give in it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm annoyed because we don't have that footage anymore. I've got it on my USB, but I need to see if I can fix it because we don't
Ooh,
have that footage. I'm really annoyed about that.
that
But
was that was
yeah,
a good set of questions as well.
yeah.
Some of these ones got deep.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the game in the UK has changed a lot within the last couple of years.
Yep.
And since I can't remember what year it is, but the UK has started to produce a lot more players, and it's gotten noticed by the NFL
Yeah.
and the NFL International Program Combine,
Mm.
which, if I'm
That's
not
really good.
correct, yourself was invited to.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? How how was that, and how did it feel to like be invited to take part in that opportunity?
Oh, so first things first. The last year with football has been like, pardon my French, my parents in the room, been a fucking fairy tale. Like it has been amazing. Like I've said it before. I was watching. They put out that video a year, like was it 2020?
Yeah.
Like end of 2020, it says showing the IPP guys, the guys that have made it, and all sorts. It was like a big video covering it all. And I was watching, I was like, it's such a dope opportunity. And you know, the ones you start even mentally listening, I wonder who's going to be in there this year, who's going to go to the next combine, wherever. 'Cause I know Glenn had gone to one like back in, I think, start of 2020, or I think
I
2019.
think so, yeah.
One of those 2 years. I was like, I knew people that had been a part of it, but I was like, oh, that'd be a dope opportunity. But like when I think it was like the week after they told me that they were changing my position in surgery. That's a whole load of controversy as well.
Oh,
When they changed me to O line. It's like literally the week after they changed me to an O line. I got the call from one of the scouts, and he says, yeah, like I'd like for us to talk and start developing a conversation because we're looking at you for the combine that's going to be taking place in the fall. And I was like, me.
wait.
I knew that the CFL Combine was coming up in like another like 8 months, 9 months, because I know it was usually around January.
Yeah.
But when they said NFL, I was thinking, wait, hold on, how did you even find me? I was like, and then it's like that imposter syndrome. I'm sitting down thinking, I wasn't even the first on my depth chart in certain places. Yeah. It's not like I was a standout prospect from the get-go. So I'm like, this is crazy. But then going through the process, being told I've been invited, then having the big, obviously they did a big post on Twitter, and I'm not even on Twitter. I haven't been on Twitter for the better half of the last 3 years. And then seeing that, and I was like, people sending it to me is like, look what I just came across. I was like, what? I was like, this is crazy. And you go there and you have the utmost professionalism from them from start to finish. You're taken care of. You're well taken care of. And then doing the combine, like you sit down and watch the combine online and YouTube, and it seems like this stoic environment. Nobody talks and all sorts of that. But you got your guys actually shouting for you the whole way through. It's just that they find ways to focus on the right sort of stuff. And
Wow.
it was an eye opener, like going through the drills, realizing that I think, as you can see, unfortunately, I didn't make it through to the program, but the next stage of the program. But also realizing you're not that far off, realizing that like what you need to do to actually get to that level, to get to the point where you're like those people that you've watched on TV for years, is like it's a game of inches, just like football is. It's all a game of inches at the moment. Like so, just being able to work in those small increments you can really make something more out of it. But being scouted for it kind of affirmed a lot for me. And I think off the back of that, I managed to get the GB tryout, joined the GB squad as well. Just kept training. Had unfortunately a little bit of an injury on my ankle, but we rehabbed that back to good, back to where I want it to be. Got another opportunity at the CFL Combine in the UK, which was again a great opportunity to get there. I didn't even put any like expectations on myself on it. I just said I want to do better than I did at the CFL at the NFL Combine.
Okay.
Even like regardless if it's by an inch, I want to do it by an inch. If it's by a yard, it's by a yard. And I managed to really blow out the water some of my measurables. So like being able to jump a whole 2 inches taller, 2 inches more. Again, people say that's small, but it's a lot. It means a lot. Getting unfortunately it's only one more rep on the bench, but one more means one more than last time.
Yeah.
And if I could just keep improving by that, that's fine. Then you have like jumping a whole, like I think it was like 6 inches further, being able to cut down my lateral shuttle and my pro shuttle times down by crazy amounts. And I have to thank obviously ATP that they get the nameless plug for that, because I wouldn't be able to do it without them.
It was
But
ATP.
yeah, ATP stuff, ATP performance. So it was AT performance, but ATP, everyone knows them as ATP. And then luckily, obviously, the CFL comes with actual physical side of it. So you have to pad up and go through your drills and pads, so they want to see how you look in pads. And that was another opportunity for me to shine, where I know sometimes I might look a bit awkward going through certain drills, but actually when I got pads on and playing football and acting thing, I know what I'm doing. So off the back of that, we had 4 days to just sit down and sort of stress about it, until they said that Wednesday we're going to do a Zoom call and tell people who's making it over to Canada, in Toronto, where they get to do the actual big one with the rest of the people they've invited to the Combine. I'm sitting down thinking, you're tense. But again, I sat down and said, nah, it's not going to be me. So they called out, I think, who's the first person they called out? I think they called out Simeon first.
Okay.
Then they said Andy.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, all right. I was like, you know what? Those are two people that outshone everyone. They looked great throughout all of their drills. And then they said me. And you know when you stop and your brain just doesn't compute. He says, "Oh, done me." So it was as I said, it was a shocker all the way through. And I was like, I was so blessed to have the opportunity. And then from there again, professionalism, back into being a professional, going over there, they have you do interviews, they have you do measurements, they have you do like a type of Wonderlic test as well.
Wow.
They have you do like what we call power poses. So they do like a whole video of you behind the lights. Some of you guys might have seen some of the pictures that came from it, but all of that stuff, it was great. And it, obviously being out there in Toronto, it's a great city. Reminds you of London, but a little bit, people are a lot happier. And then we went to a Raptors game. This wasn't obviously taken care of by the CFL, but we still got that exposure from Sammy and seeing how people treat you. And then obviously the Combine, again, doing better than I did last time. Unfortunately, the whole time I was over there, I had flu. I was basically just trying to push through and get further. So doing better in my broad, I managed to jump a 9.9, which is the furthest I've ever jumped. Again, my lateral shuttle leading the global D line. I think in most of the measurables, I led the global D line, other than I think 2, and then but obviously bench and vert,
yeah,
which had dropped down a bit. But other than that, then we went into the individuals again, still fighting that flu, but I managed to at least show enough to garner enough attention. I feel like those were my definitely strong points. That and my interview, it showed that I was articulate, I was understanding. I come from a solid base, and I think that's definitely one of the things that shows that us as guys from the UK, we're not just headless chickens that know how to run. We know our stuff, and we can carry ourselves with a certain level of decorum and appreciation for the opportunity that we have. Then that some other people don't really come with.
okay.
We come with the right energy.
So obviously, I know that I know that for a fact it was a surreal moment when you got invited to the Combine.
Yeah.
But how much validation did you feel in yourself just by being told that we want you to come over. We're gonna look after you completely. You're coming
Mhm.
over. You need to be in a part of this combine. How much validation did you feel at that moment in time? Like, were you jumping around? Were you like singing praises? What were you doing when they told you that?
Okay, let me tell you, yeah. They said it, because okay, my bedroom is like this, and my desk is here, and then right there's a side mirror. I just kind of went and looked myself in the mirror. I said, "You, they want you to." And he's still talking. He says, "I can't see him on camera because I turned off my camera once I got into the Zoom call,
Yeah.
and I turned my camera on, and I'm just there like, yeah, I'm here. Come on, get in." After that, my brain shut off. I didn't even hear the last one. And then eventually I managed to realize it was Chris. It was the next one as well. And then Maceo, which was the French guy that came over, an amazing DB. But then it's after that, and it's like realizing that a couple of weeks they're flying you out. I'm getting flued out like a bad bee, and it as embarrassing as that sounds, it is what it is, isn't it? I ain't gonna walk around with my head down. I was like, yeah, I'll take that. I'm a bad bee. I'll take that I'll take that fight. So I got there. Obviously, like just preparing and to get out there, and then eventually going over there. It was just like within yourself, you kind of have to look within yourself and say, this is all the hard work you've put to get to this stage. There's no like if you can't call it a fluke anymore.
Nah.
Like, you can't validate it to yourself that this is a fluke or they picked up the wrong guy and all sorts. Because if like cool GB, NFL, teams abroad, CFL, ELF, like GFL now, and all sorts. If these people are looking at your tape and looking at how you carried yourself and how you work, your work ethic, and they say they want you, you can't take that away from yourself. And I feel
Yes.
like a lot of the time I try and find the I mean, the people say try and find the silver lining. So I don't know what to call it. I'm going to call it the copper lining, the
Okay.
ugly lining. I try and find the thing that I need to improve or the negative, unfortunately, at times, like in the past, especially. Now I've become more of a silver lining person myself, but I try and look for what I can improve on. And now I've kind of stopped and I said, you know what? Like if all else fails and God forbid, touch wood, I can never play the sport of football. I can say that I've left an imprint as it is. Do I want it to be stopped now? Hell no. I feel like there's a lot more for me to give, and there's a lot more that I want to do to not only enable myself, but a lot of these young guys that I train with. I mean, I had an Excel session, performance session this morning. I train with sometimes 15-year-olds.
Oh. Wow.
Exactly. And I see how hungry they are to play this sport. So if I can be down, go through and navigate and find the best ways and the easiest ways to develop and go further in the sport, and I can give the blueprint to these kids, I'm gonna do that. Like as I said, I've my journey and the whole point of Jackal's journey. Like quite a few people have seen it. It's on it's my YouTube channel. It's my Facebook page. The whole meaning behind that is to inspire. There's nothing else other than that. To inspire, to leave a sort of record of, you know what, I'm like you. I'm one of the people that weren't necessarily the first on the depth chart. I'm someone that had to sit on the bench as well. I'm someone that played uni ball. I didn't go straight from junior ball in the UK over to JUCO or over to college ball. I played uni ball. I played senior ball. I played senior ball in Div 2 and Prem. I played abroad. I played for team. I practiced with Team GB. So I've done the long way ticking off things, and I could still make it. That means that you guys have a chance.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, indeed. Now, with that combine,
Mm.
how were your nerves leading up to the days of the actual combine itself?
Yeah.
How were your nerves getting up to the actual moment where you knew it was about to start? Did you feel nervous? Did you feel have like the butterflies? Did you feel like this is my time? I've got to put everything into it. Like, what was the main thing running through your head?
I think it'd be inhuman to say that I didn't have any nerves. Like as I said, I'm getting flown to a country I've never been before. I've been to the United States, never been to Canada. I don't know what's gonna happen on the other side. I get there. As I said, there was professionalism the whole way through. Something that you don't realize is that the GMs, the head coaches, positional coaches, the scouting directors, scout operations managers, they're all in the hotel with you.
Yeah.
So you're walking down, walking around the foyer, walking around the hotel, jumping in the elevator, and you're bumping into who could be your head coach. You're bumping into who can be your GM. So they were accurate in saying from the time you arrive, it's basically an interview the whole way through. This is a 5-6 day long interview. And how you carry yourself, the things you do, how you speak to staff, how you speak to your fellow peers, that's all being observed. How confident you are in speaking to the GMs and the head coaches and your positional coaches, like how you carry yourself as a man. Like these things are all stuff that were under scrutiny, and you don't realize you didn't realize it. And it's kind of funny. You go through a stage where you might bump into someone in the elevator, and then right after you just Googling to say, "Crap, who is this?" So you go straight into the team website, try and scroll through. It's like, "Oh crap, this is the scouting director." It's a good thing I carried myself in a certain way. So, as I said, like it was an amazing experience. I had individual conversations with head coaches of multiple teams, and again, coming from a guy, I grew up in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Yeah. Like what I think Bruce Forsyth and Larry Lamb are probably the most famous people to come out of Edmonton, barring Tion Wayne.
I'm trying to think. No, David Beckham was Walthamstow.
Exactly. So
Yeah, there's not much that come out of Everton. Yeah, okay.
so to be there and talking to these powerful people, it was amazing. And then you had like the interview process, which I definitely, I'll be honest, I probably wasn't ready for, but I didn't show myself up. I was definitely, as I said, articulate, able to get my point across to who I am. But stepping into a room and you have 9 guys there and 9 guys there, two from each team.
Oh,
You got to get asked questions from up there, from someone who's directing certain questions, and yeah, they're looking at you. Everything you say, you see them scribbling down. You have a conversation. You have to learn how to survey the room. Luckily, being a teacher, you learn how to talk across a room rather than just staring at one corner. So I feel like that helped. But yeah, that was probably one of the most nerve-wracking points of it, barring the bench press and the vert jump, only because you're on a stage, you're there alone. It's like it's quiet, and then you walk off, and the cameras are there, like you got a spotlight on you. It's mad, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But once you obviously leading up to combine, you know it's like today's go day. You have to do something now, and you kind of get to the end of it. And I was like, I got to right. I mean, we kind of rushed. There was a couple of mistakes that were made in our transport, so we didn't have as much time to warm up as I usually would like to. But like, there's a certain level of calm that comes once you get there. It's an open area. Again, there's not much sound going on, but you're with your guys. They split us up into global and non-global. So it's a global and then local.
Yeah.
So it's sorry, national. So they split us up and then split us up even further. So I was with the O-line D-line group. So they split us up into national, global, and then they split us to global O-line and global D-line, national O-line, national D-line. And we just rotated through the 4 athletic drills. We started on broad jump, and I'll tell you this. My first jump was trash.
Oh.
The butterflies definitely hit. Yeah, the first jump I think was 8'9" or 8'6", which for a defensive end of my size and all sorts was below average. It's below what I've ever done before.
Oh.
And I sat down and said, "All right, cool, we got to jump." And you know when you're like before the jump actually, like I took off. You know you could feel that this was the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got down, and as I was about to explode, I was like, "This is something different. Something feels different about this one. I'm either gonna fall flat on my face, or something's about to happen." I jumped, and I was, I think, maybe a couple inches shy of 10 feet.
Oh.
And that's a big jump for me, because I've never done. I think what is it, 2 inches shy of 10 feet? That is.
Wow.
Because it was 9.5. So it was a big moment for me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm that guy." So yeah, and then from there, I just took the confidence I got from that, and then just applied it to the other drills. I practiced certain drills very often, very well, so I knew my stuff. I knew how to approach it. I know how Glenn taught me how to approach it. So I went through the drills, got really good numbers. Other than 2. And then then we put the pads on, got through certain drills, and they saw our move and all sorts. And I mean, the draft day is not until what, a week and a bit now. We got a week and a bit. So I just gotta wait on that.
Okay.
But that's what you found. That's your affirmation. That's your confirmation.
Yeah, damn, that is very true. Right. So you all right. So you're one of the few players that have actually hold up. There's something here that I'm actually figuring out. You actually are you the only person that's actually been invited to the NFL International Program Combine and the CFL Combine within the space of a year?
Me, me and Andy.
Okay, so you and Andy, what were the
We,
differences between both combines?
we're okay. So we're the two. Let me just clarify it. So we're the two
Okay,
British guys that have done it.
okay.
There's a couple other guys that were invited to both. The differences between them. So the NFL one was I felt was a little bit shorter. It was spread
Ah,
over 4 days. So we got there, I think Friday. We got into the hotel, I think Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, 4 days. Whereas the CFL one was a little bit longer of a process. I think they flew us out a little bit earlier just so we can get our feet under us and get used to jet lag and things along those lines. I feel like the CFL one was a little bit more extensive, but I think that's probably due to the fact that it's the second stage.
yes.
So they did all the videoing and everything, the interview stuff like this, which you didn't get in the NFL Combine. But the NFL Combine was the initial one, and then that obviously leads to a pathway, which I imagine they would have had all the extra stuff with. Um, Other than that, I mean, both times we're staying in a Marriott hotel. um, Both times it was very professional all the way through. Obviously the difference is that you're in front of scout. You're not just in front of scouts this time. You're in front of head coaches. You're in front of GMs. You're in front of positional coaches. You're in front of people who are connected to specific organizations. Whereas in the London one, you have the international scouts that are there to assess you, but also take that video and pass it on to the relevant people. So yeah, I feel like that's the main difference that you saw in it. I feel like there's obviously slight differences between the leagues. So for any of you guys that are preparing for the combine next year, just know that it's not 100 kilos, it's 102.5 kilos. Now you might say that that's a minor difference. Tell me that's minor
It's
when
a
you
big
start getting to those
difference.
struggle reps.
That is
Those struggle reps, and you're there and all sorts, and you're like, I usually can push past this. Yeah, you're not doing it with 102.5. Like, yeah, you're not doing it. So stuff like that, slight changes in that. And I know in the UK we use the pressure pad instead of the
the pole.
the tool, the pole
Yeah.
for your vert jump. That's something that you guys should probably look into. I know DSA has one of the poles, so if you need practice on that, that's also a massive thing because the techniques are different. Pressure pad is you should jump as high as you possibly can. You can be as reckless as you want. With the other one, you have to really push and you have to get used to actually tapping the slats properly. Other than that, no, it's all the same. It's all the same stuff, just different stuff. And obviously, the fact that there's a component in it that requires you to go into pads and actually go head to head with players of opposite positions.
Yes. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. So, not much different between the both, but they're
Hmm.
still very, very professional.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. So, the CFL draft is coming up, right?
yeah.
How
9 teams,
okay.
27 picks.
So you know your stuff. How excited are you to potentially the possibility of getting drafted to a professional league and actually being paid to play a sport that you've come to love in such a short time of playing?
I feel like that's the unreal part. Like when I was even told from that I'm going to Canada, I teared up a little bit. But toxic masculinity, I sucked them tears right back up, just like Goku in Dragon Ball GT. Was it GT? He sucked that tear back up. Yeah, I sucked that right back up. But it's one of those. It would be like that final. That final. I wouldn't say it's the final hurdle because there's more hurdles. It's getting through training camp, getting onto the practice squad, getting onto the active squad, getting through your first contract, second contract, etc.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of I finally did it. If you understand what I mean. I set this goal for myself 2018.
Mm.
I just said like football went really well. And I've got the chat that I sent to Coach Fab. Fab, he was my coach at the time. And I said to him, like, I really want to go as far as I can with it. And so far, like, going to the ELF, then going to the NFL Combine, then going to things like even messages my uncle sent to me when I was younger. Just being able to look at that, although he's not with us anymore. I was able to look at like a card that he sent me one Christmas on one of my birthdays, and like this scroll, because they're really cheesy with stuff. They used to give us like sometimes the weirdest of gifts. Like I have a stethoscope because at one point I wanted to be a doctor.
Fair enough.
Like, they were always supportive in their own way. So having that scroll where I open it up and it goes through, and I'll send it over to you, and it's just a lot of heartfelt words that help me progress and push forward, and then to come to a point where I might be drafted and paid for this sport, despite people telling me I couldn't, despite like, lack of support. I mean, my parents even admitted it most recently that it's not that they didn't believe in me, that they just didn't see the tangibility of it at first.
I get that.
And to see how far I've come, and it's not necessarily to disprove them wrong, but especially the people that looked down upon me, that said I couldn't do it. The people that I remember one time, someone asked me, maybe they'll remember who they are, I doubt they will. They asked me, do you ever think, we're watching an NFL game, and do you ever think that you could ever make it to that level? And I said, I think if I tried hard enough and I trained hard enough, I would. And they said, but realistically, and it's that
realistically was just so.
It was one of those things that it's kind of like, wow, okay, cool. And it's not like a petty thing. It's not like something I've held for years and all sorts. But now I can, like, if I was to get drafted, like, I mean, so far, even now, I can sit down and say, is it real enough for you now?
Yeah.
And that's not like a cocky thing. It's just like, I've made it happen. I've spoken into existence. I worked hard through the COVID, through the lockdown. I was doing some weird stuff that people might even look at me and say, that's not even football specific. But I was doing something. I had to do something. I couldn't sit down and do nothing. Injuries, I've trained through them. I've done my best to work through them. So I've definitely dedicated myself. And sometimes you feel like you don't do enough. You feel like you should be this robot that is able to go to work, do your full working day, come home, do your sprint session, do your gym session, eat right, get everything done for work, and go with rinse and repeat as much. But sometimes I fell off. I'll be honest with you. That's part of being human. This is the message for the guys out there, the younger guys, the guys that want to play and all sorts. Appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that you're human. You all fall off sometimes. You all get days where you don't want to go to the gym. You'll get days where you can't go to the gym, and don't be so tough on yourself, because you take it in your strides. Do what you can with the time that you have. So if you can't make it to the gym, sort out your life, sort out your private life. Make sure everything's put to the side, so that when you go back to the gym, you can hit it right, and just keep going. That's it. Keep going. Take every day as it is, and if you didn't make the most of yesterday, that's fine. Don't feel like you have to make up with other people, because like not make up with other people, but make up for that. Like, just put it to the side and just make the best out of the next opportunity you have.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. How excited are your parents now at this possibility of, their son doing something, achieving a dream that he has set his sights on? How excited are they for that to maybe come to fruition in a couple of weeks?
I mean, they've been excited for me. I feel like they've come, as I said, like the fact that they even said what they said about obviously looking at the tangibility and actually seeing how far it's gone and how much I've dedicated my time towards it, through the toughest of situations, through the most difficult bits, through getting cut. They've seen me at my lowest, and they've seen me at my highest, and they've looked at obviously my progression over the last couple of years, over the last couple of weeks, and then to finally get that recognition, they're really excited. I mean, are they going to say anything? You guys are sitting over there. They're sitting over there listening in, and they're just smiling, and they're trying hard not to smile. And so like, I mean, you guys can speak for yourselves. How excited are you?
No, why you talk about me? I mean, I'm the one who knew from day one that whatever you put your mind to, I've always said it, you're the least of my kids I worry about, because if you were going to be a street cleaner, you were going to be the best that you can do. And that is the J I know. Where it comes on to the American football, you're right. I confess. I thought, okay, because as you said earlier in your interview, you're not the most athletic of persons. You
Mhm.
weren't, you know.
Stocky.
But I know you would always give it your go. With American football, I mean, when you played in university, it was good, it was great, it was the done thing. You're in university, it was the balancing of academics, in some, doing something physical to get the brain and everything not too stressed. And then, of course, you talk about uncle, the demise of uncle. And I thought it was just your way of dealing with that trauma, that, what is to come, because uncle was the uncle that you were going to probably go to your first, party, I mean, like club with, and to know what was happening. And then I thought you went into a very low period, and you were just using the football as a smoke screen. So that year, I literally just, after the little bit, oh, Jay, you can't be doing that. I sort of convinced myself that you were just using that to get through that period. It was a very bad year for you, and I know that. And then I start wake up and listen and figure, well, okay, how do you know so much? How do you, not only playing this sport, but talking about it and teaching people about it? And then I had to say, well, really, this something is here. So the excitement, me, I'm the parachute person, you know that, and that is the aeroplane person. So I think that even without this, in his brain, you are there. You're gonna get the contract. I'm still there waiting to remind you that this is not over until it's over, just in case. Because I'm the parachute person. But I mean, you're an amazing person.
Okay,
you are, and I don't know if excited is the word, but very proud of you. Because the other little thing that you didn't mention is that to me, you were sacrificing what you always wanted to do, which was to become a doctor. But it's a sacrifice that was worth it. Because you can always go back to that. But also, I can see you are very happy in what you do, and that's the important thing. So if it happens, I'll tell you about that.
See, so mum's the if it happens, dad is the when it happens.
It happens, yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. Your mom's gonna make me cry, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
I am excited.
Look,
sorry.
We both have Jamaican parents, innit?
Yeah.
Your parents are completely different to how my mum was when I started playing this sport.
Okay.
So just hearing what your mum said, I ain't gonna lie. I wish I could hear that when I was your age and younger. But yeah.
Oh, don't worry. I got the many times I come back from a game, and the game limp. It's just like something hurts.
Yeah.
My mum says, if you go and get yourself mashed up, that's your business. I don't understand why you play this damn sport.
Yeah.
If you're gonna come back limping every game, and it's like I just said, Mum, it's part of the process. Like you have to call a spade, charge it to the game and keep it stepping.
It's got to happen. It's got to happen. It's got to happen.
Your dad used to come back from martial arts like that, and now you've taken it off.
Oh wow. Yeah. So I ain't gonna lie. In what? How many days? How many days? A week?
A week and what is the day? It's quite literally the day
a
after
week and
bank holiday.
a week and 3 days.
Yep.
Your life could potentially change
forever.
I'm actually kind of lost for words for that one. I actually had the question and it just put it out of my head. But your life will change forever. How are you feeling about that possibility of that happening?
I feel like I haven't felt like this in years. Regardless, like everything I've done up until this point, and I'm not even just talking about football wise, like life wise, like that excitement of the next step. So unfortunately, quite due to different circumstances, quite a few different my next steps, it felt like there was a cloud over it. There's times where I've had opportunities to go and play abroad, and that could have been the next step. But there was also always something to sort of, I need to worry about this, or I need to worry about that. As you know, Europe don't pay you that much. So
Yeah.
I always had to think, oh, how am I going to pay for my bills back home? And to find, I mean, it's just been a slow build. It's not been like I'm excited from the time I got back. I'm excited when I hear things from my acting agent and all sorts. Like, it's more of a case of, it's been a very slow build up, and it's like, this is the second biggest league in the world.
Yeah.
The first and second biggest league in the world looked at me and said, oh, you're someone that could be a part of this. It's the feeling of, you know what, you grew up, as I said, like, for me, it's just like, you were never necessarily the most standoutish of athletes in anything. And I've managed to actually put myself, I mean, I believed in everything I've said all the time, but I always appreciated that with American football, for you to get to the next stage, it's not necessarily in your hands. But I've kind of proved that wrong in certain aspects. I've done the work, I've shown it, I've done everything I could do. I did the blueprint, I did the media side of it, I put myself out there. And now that could come to fruition and change my life forever. And it kind of allows me to look back on the past, and even when my mum alluded to where that dark time in my life, that year where things were going wrong, and looking at it, it's like, it's hard when you we've spoken about racism, we've spoken about a little bit of toxic masculinity in this, and like, I'll even talk about like the idea of depression, man. And when some people, they get down, and like, you can feel down there. You can quite literally look at things, and everything just feels tasteless.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what would get you out of that, and you're fed up with your situation. You're fed up with where you are. Some people don't really find ways to sort of get out of it. I luckily just found different things that kind of helped me condition my mind and put discipline back into my life that could help me get out of it. And while at that moment in time when I was saying I was 8, listen, bro, I'd lost weight. I'd lost a lot of weight. I went from 105 kilos to about 83. Then I built up to, I think, like 93 during that cheetah season.
Wow.
I was 93 kilos saying I want to go and play in the NFL as a defensive end. Now, tell me what team is going to look at a 93 kilo defensive end and say, yeah, let's give him a chance.
You got speed and power?
Speed and power ain't going to save it when a guy can bench press me as a warm-up.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a big change, and it's like, to look at that and how far I've come, be it just through the day by day, the week by week, even in this off season alone. I put something on my story the other day, and just looking back at how I felt during those moments, but then how I feel now, it's a completely different aspect. And it's like, I'm so humbled and appreciative and grateful for how far I've come, and the people that have been there to help me through it. Like, if I ever had opportunity to say it, I'd tell people I'm not just player for the London Blitz, the Team GB, the Hertfordshire Cheetahs, Hurricanes. I'm a British prospect. I'm a product of British football. Yes. And you have to take it like that, because I've come across the greats in football, the older greats and all sorts. And while I didn't know him personally, even the small conversations I had with Coach Neil when we were in the lead up to the NFL Combine or going abroad, and just the support you got from that, and just seeing the OGs really look at you and say, yeah, you're carrying that torch. That's amazing. So I have to always look at it, and it's like, as I said, my life could change completely forever in the space of a couple of weeks. And I have to be humble. I always say the same thing. The journey continues regardless of where. I said it to them in the interview. If it's in this league, if it's in other leagues, I'm still going to keep playing football. I'm still going to keep pushing it. I'm still going to keep doing my bits to sort of right the way and push forward for not just myself, but it's bigger than me now. Yes. It's bigger than just what I want to do, or whether I can be bothered to get up in the morning and go for a run, or go learn the new technique. I'm carrying, for me, and it's not like a pressure standpoint, but I'm carrying the whole of the UK. I'm representing the whole of the UK in what I do now. And if I do the right things, maybe this could actually help hundreds of other kids. Maybe not our generation, because Lord knows I'm on the cutoff point. I'm 25, about to turn 26.
I'm 30. I'm gone. I'm long gone.
But again, you guys, without you guys winning those Hertfordshire championships, Hertfordshire might not have had a team by the time I got to university.
True. That is true.
You have to see it like it's all a drip down effect. And then you have to look at NFL Europe. So the guys that went and played in NFL Europe, American football might not have been that big in the UK. It wasn't for those guys as well. So it's all come down the pipeline. So as I said, I'm just the latest edition of that. Not without the version 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So I always look at it like without the coach Hatch, without the micers, without the DJs and all sorts, I would have never been able to come this far. So I have to look at it as that as I said, I'm a product of British American football, the ups and the downs.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, exciting times in the next couple of weeks. Exciting
exciting
times. And
while I'm not counting down the days, I'm not gonna lie. We said to my little brother, I was like, you might have to watch the draft because I might not. I prefer to wake up in the morning and have someone send me a message or be in the night to say.
Oh, don't worry. Unheard Voice will be following that draft for every single UK prospect.
Shout out to not even just the UK prospects, the global prospects that put on the show. Because you go out there, there's guys that I've known from the NFL Combine, guys that I didn't know, like just tons of guys came out there and they pulled out, they showed out, and they showed that Europe is a market that's not just outside of the States. It's a market that we take the sport seriously. We might need a little bit more guidance, but we have great guys that can do a lot. Give us the chance and we'll show you. So shout out to all of those guys. Shout out to my guys, especially from the UK. Yeah. So you had me, you had Chris, you had Simeon, you had Andy, and you had even Sam Oram Jones, who no one actually shouted him out because I didn't know he was a Brit until I got there.
No, neither did I.
He was actually missing a part of his interview. And someone came over to me and says, "Oh, do you know this guy?" I was like, "No." He says, "Oh, I thought because he's a Brit, you might know him." I was like, "What?" I thought it was only us guys that are here, us four here.
Wait, is that the running? Was that the running back
from USC?
Yeah. See, I think he moved out to the States from UK, so I think they're gonna class him as a UK prospect regardless.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He played at Durham University. We actually went head to head. It's only when he described it, I was like, yeah, I was playing for the Hurricanes at that time.
Wow.
So we definitely would have gone head to head. And he was like, yeah, he went over there. He's playing for USC. Something that I feel like it's kind of criminal. He doesn't actually get any shout-outs because he's playing for USC.
Did not.
Prestigious school. So shout out to him as well. But shout out to my British prospects. I wish you guys the best in the coming draft, hands down. I already know in my heart of hearts that we did our debt. I don't want to say, I don't want to jinx, I don't want to put any things out, put any posters out there, put any predictions out there. But I think that us four definitely we have a place in that draft. We have a place in those teams.
I agree. You all balled out and you all did what you had to do. You showed that the UK and Europe, all of you that did actually, you all showed that Europe can get to that standard that, teams that in the NFL and teams in North America are interested in you guys. Right. Let's go to the next question, shall we?
I'm here for it.
What football regrets do you have? If you have any.
Football regrets. I got a ton of them. I'd say first and first, not taking the sport more serious earlier.
Yes.
Oh, I think the first one is not going to Blitz that year, that gap year. If I went to Blitz in that gap year, I think it would have started a lot for me because you would have got ingrained in the culture from early. That's the year that they went to the finals. I think Mike was still over there. Kyle was there, and also, so I would have got to meet a lot of the Brit ball legends.
Yeah.
Before this later stage in my life, I think definitely not taking my gym work seriously until 2017, 2018. Definitely hurt my ability to push further earlier. It's definitely one of the big regrets. I think football wise as well. I wouldn't say I necessarily regret leaving Blitz because it would have never opened up the opportunity of playing at the Cheetahs. But I think in a parallel universe, if I stayed with the Blitz, I would have still got a really good experience, and I probably might even be playing. We've been playing outside linebacker a little bit earlier than I initially was. And what else is there? Maybe not going back for my masters the year after I finished, because that's the year we went to the finals. You know that itch as a coach, being on the sideline as a coach,
Yes.
you feel like you could have done something. Although that's probably stupid. Like one player doesn't change a whole game.
One play can change a whole game.
One player. One player
can change a whole game.
You know it can, but like a defensive end.
Yes. Why do you think that the left tackle is probably one of the highest paid?
We're talking about LT as well.
It doesn't matter. What position did he play? What position did he play?
End outside linebacker.
Okay, so one player can change an entire league for crying out loud.
He can
change an entire game.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to keep humble in the sense to say that me being on that field might not have made the biggest difference.
You never know. You never know that situation.
It's always a hypothetical. It's always going to be a hypothetical, in it.
Yes. What if you got a fumble? There's many different things that can happen in the game.
Yeah.
That can change a whole outset.
So I think that's one of my regrets. I think other than that, it's just I'd say that's all. I'm a dedicated worker. I've been working hard for this, so I can't say that there's ever a time when I say, oh, I should have worked harder here, I should have done more here, because I'm the type of person that tends to take whatever opportunity he can and runs with it as much as I can. I think the only regret I could have, I don't know. I really don't have any of those. Okay. I've done everything I can, and I've never missed a game due to injury, which is crazy. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Have I missed a game due to injury? No. Even the year that we went to the finals, my wrist was broken. I still just strapped that up and went. So never missed a game due to injury. Never missed anything. So I'd say no. I've done my best. Other than those handful of regrets, and those are things that are just more like hindsight 2020, more so than regrets of conscious decisions that I made to put myself in a bad situation.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd say that's definitely it. And yeah, that's it. Maybe I should have forced my little brother to go to Hearts earlier, because maybe we would have been able to share the field a lot sooner than last week.
Fair enough. That is true. All right.